Hi there, everybody, and welcome to Sailing Cuba in less than 15 minutes with me, your host, Gary Armstrong, the G Adventures GPS for Alberta. And so I really wanted to focus on our Cuba Sailing because I feel that a lot of other operators focus on all-inclusive resorts when it comes to visiting Cuba and the Caribbean. But at G, we find that a lot of these all-inclusive exclude some of the best parts of visiting a place like Cuba. Little things like meeting the people, learning about the culture, seeing, a wide variety of different landscapes, and of course, spending a whole ton of time on the ocean and enjoying the crystal clear blue waters. So what I'm going to do for this presentation is highlight the unique 8-day journey through the islands of the Caneros Archipelago that travelers can do aboard our exclusive catamaran in the region. So the idea for this trip is that it is very relaxing, that you can snorkel in the crystal clear waters, search for colourful fish, relax on the beaches, and dine on some of the best seafood that you'll ever have caught right over the side of the vessel as you're sailing through the Caribbean. So, give people the opportunity to experience Cuba G Adventure style, where we really don't leave anything out. And one of the reasons I wanted to focus on Cuba is that there's been a kind of a massive growth in the number of travelers who are visiting the small island. So the number of travelers has doubled in the last 5 years. So there were 4 million visitors in 2016. And a full 1/3 of all the travelers visiting are from Canada. So I feel that there's, a lot of people who are asking about Cuba and wanting to visit Cuba. And this is an opportunity to offer them something that's a little bit different so they can spend their time off the beaten path and away from the crowds that are now in Veradero and Havana. And so the overview of the trip, you start in Havana. We have a adjoining hotel where there is a meeting reception at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So you want to make sure your travelers are arriving before that meeting. And that's where you're going to meet your CEO and the rest of your group. And from there, we're going to transfer everybody down to Cienfuegos. It's about a 3-hour scenic drive across Cuba. And from there, you're going to board the vessel and sail your 8-day itinerary around the archipelago there that you can see on the map. So I tend to recommend people spending, more time in the region. And so it's one of those things where this is a great little 8-day trip. And then, people can have that chance afterwards to, spend more time in Havana or see a little bit more of the islands once they return. Because Cuba is a fantastic destination. I have had the good fortune to visit a couple of times a number of years ago. And just, it really is an excellent place to go. The people, the culture, the music is pretty amazing. So there she is, that's the Neptune, our 84-foot catamaran that cruises the waters on the southern coast of Cuba. She is the largest catamaran that sails those waters. She's heading into dry dock in September for a quick refit, where we will also be putting new high-efficiency engines onto her to help lower the environmental impact that our trips have, and then, of course, help to increase the speed of the vessel as well. So it's laid out like all of our G Adventures trips. It is a small group adventure. So there's a maximum capacity of 14 passengers. There are 8 double occupancy cabins, 8 toilets with 9 showers. So each twin has its own bathroom. There's also some covered dining spaces inside the saloon. And there's also a covered outdoor dining area as well as some, outdoor spaces that aren't covered for people who want to be sitting in the sun and enjoying the beautiful weather. So on board, you have your skipper who is sailing you from, around the different islands. You have a professional chef on board as well, who all day long, every day, cooks delicious seafood and is very good at it. And then you have your CEO as well, your G Adventures guide, who's going to be taking you from place to place and helping you learn more about what you're seeing and doing during the trip. So the vessel herself kind of hits that sweet spot between being cozy and being spacious. I wanted to touch on the food and drink costs as well. So all the meals are included on this trip. You're going to be dining on board, or the vast majority of them, dining on board with freshly caught fish. As far as alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic beverages, soft drinks run you about $1 or $2, or 1 and 2 CUC, so Cuban convertible pesos. A bottle of wine runs to about 10 CUC, so that works out at about $12 Canadian. And then I have it on really good authority that the mojito record on board the vessel is 36 for the week, and that the mojitos are $2 each. So even if you're looking to break that record, you're still not running up a massive bar tab while you're cruising with us around the archipelago. As far as packing, the vessel is relatively small. You are going to be on the water a large part of this and in the water for a large part of the trip. So make sure you're packing your sunscreen and long-sleeved clothing as well to keep the sun off you. But you want to make sure that you're taking something that is, relatively soft cased so that you can, jam it into the small cubbies that we have in the cabins. So hard cased suitcases are not recommended for these trips. Duffel bags or backpacks would be best. And then if you are looking to stay in the region for a prolonged period of time after the trip, or do a back-to-back G trip afterwards, then you are able to store some luggage in the arrival joining hotel as well. So just make sure that you're kind of packing light for the trip so that you're not kind of climbing over suitcases whenever you're getting back into your cabin at the end of the day. And so I really want to thank Erin for providing a lot of the pictures for this trip. Erin is one of my colleagues who works out in BC, and she recently got back from doing this trip with us in May. And so this is the group she was with, and what I'll do as far as a day-by-day breakdown of this, after they got back from their trip, Erin's amazing CEO, Pippa, who's at the front of that picture at the bottom, she sent back a day-by-day kind of log of the trip. And so what I'm going to do is just read from that log, and so you have a really good understanding of what the day-to-day activities and itinerary is for one of these trips. So after arriving at Cienfuegos on Saturday night, we met our floating home Neptune and set sail from Cienfuegos after dinner. We navigated through the Bay of Cienfuegos and the Gulf of Batambo, overnight dropped anchor after sunrise at Cayo Trabuco. So after breakfast, aboard, we had our first amazing snorkel at Cayo Trabuco. The rockhead here was particularly special, visibility was amazing, and we enjoyed spotting many colourful tropical fish in the rich, deep blue waters on the edge of the Gulf of Batambo. We navigated east towards Kai Lago. We sailed right to the western area, passing the hotels and fishing along the way. 2 barracuda quickly ended up on the Neptune's deck during the navigation and on our plates that night. We made our first stop in Cayo Lago at Playa Serena, a long expanse of deserted beach on the edge of the mangrove system. Our fantastic Captain Pedro beached the boat so we could hop off onto the beach. We spent the afternoon wandering the shores, lazing in the water, having fun, and spotting conch shells, needlefish, and starfish. On the third day after sunrise, over the mangroves close to Playa Serena Beach, we made our way back to the coast of Cayo Lago, where we beached Neptune on Playa Los Pinos. Whilst the weather was still cool, we explored the beautiful, serene mangrove channels by kayak and dinghy. We saw rays, pelicans, diving terns fishing, mangrove hawks, and starfish. Our barbecue was postponed as the heavens opened and we jumped into swim in the rain. After lunch and the storm, we checked out Cayo Iguana and its sandy banks. Here we took some fun photos and videos with the crazy creatures and the beautiful colours of the water. Back at Playa Los Pintos, we played some volleyball and during our short beach visit. We relaxed here in the water's edge, spied stingrays, had a few Cuba Libres on Neptune's new floating bar, danced and jumped off the boat and laughed a lot. We spent the night on anchor again by the bay of Playa Serena, protected from an early evening storm. Eduardo cooked up another feast, both in the kitchen and on the entertainment front. Tonight we had lobster aboard. What a treat. Once again, we danced the night away on board. And so you can see from the images and the pictures here that there is a theme to this trip. There is a lot of time, on the vessel, relaxing, in the water, relaxing, looking at the wildlife, enjoying the landscapes of the various places that you're visiting. I should also mention there is no cell phone reception at any point during this trip. So one of the key highlights of being on this relaxing trip with G Adventures is that, you are away from that screen. There is no screen time on board. You are talking to the people that you're with, you're getting to know that small group of people that you're traveling with, and kind of playing games and, basically taking time away and unplugging for the entirety of this trip. So on day 4, after breakfast, we sailed a few hours down to Cayo Estopa. Great winds allowed us to make butterflies with the front sails, and we reached 8 knots. Before lunch, we anchored and discovered the beautiful winding channels here, met some local fishing boats, and enjoyed being pulled to the boat tied to the back of the dinghy. After investigating these beautiful turquoise channels, we moved easterly again to Cayo Estopa Reef. Those who snorkeled swam with some really strong currents, but enjoyed the beautiful bright purple fan coral here. Making our way back to sheltered bay Playa Serena, we enjoyed the winds and some sunset cocktails. Eduardo cooked up a feast of barracuda caught during the day for our evening meal on board. On day 5, we woke up to calm waters and packed our bags to head to shore for a morning on the beach. How lucky we were to enjoy the island to ourselves for most of the morning, at complete peace, and enjoyed lunch on terra firma. We discovered the iguanas and the little juta tree rats that live here on the island, along with the powdery white sands and calm, shallow turquoise waters. We sipped excellent pina coladas made with fresh coconut and admired the black falcons. Leaving after our feast of fish and some pretty serious domino games and photo sessions, we made our way back east to Cayo Largo. On arrival, we visited the cute little turtle sanctuary on Cayo Largo and learned a bit about the project here. And so on each of our Cuba sailing trips, I should say that's Erin there with Steve, the turtle that they met at the the turtle sanctuary. And on each of our Cuba sailing trips, all our travelers visit the Cuba or this turtle sanctuary, and then have the opportunity to release a turtle into the wild once it's been rehabilitated in that sanctuary. So the following day, before heading out of the marina, we made a little visit to the turtle sanctuary to collect our turtle to release on the reef. We were allowed to release Steve on the Cayo Largo reef, and we saw him head straight to the reef for his first taste of open water. Relaxing was the order of the day, and we dropped anchor just 30 minutes west of the marina at the most beautiful beach known as Playa Paraíso. This definitely had to be one of the best beach areas in Cuba, with miles of sandy beach and interesting sandbanks to enjoy, and crystal clear waters with what I consider to be the most vibrant and colourful waters of the area, enhanced by the forever changing sandbank. We experienced our second tropical rainstorm of the week, and it came down fast. Following lunch, we went to visit a new island and do some snorkeling and fishing. On the way, a large pod of dolphins came to keep us company by playing in the waters with us. On arrival, our captain found us a wonderful rockhead full of life. The abundance of fish and coral was impressive, and some even saw a hawksbill turtle. This reef had beautiful angelfish, yellow, blue, and purple, porcupine fish, many lobsters, fan coral, and much more. Jose had a successful fish and brought more food back to the boat. It was a beautiful evening, and we dropped anchor for the night, the ocean crystal clear and still like a swimming pool. Orange sunset to the west, rising moon in the east, and the gently breaking waves on the reef nearby. We were able to pick out every blade of seagrass, starfish, and shell on the seabed from the boat. Another incredible day of Cuba sailing. On Friday, setting sail, we were able to enjoy our last swim in the Big Blue before heading northeast in search of our safe harbour, Cienfuegos. We had waves and some strong winds through the day. We really enjoyed the full sailing experience and managed to finish the trip with the sails out, which was pretty cool. Returning to Cienfuegos, we took a ride up to the town by taxi convoy. We enjoyed looking around this beautiful town before arriving back at the boat for our last dinner together. We enjoyed international traditional music from Lutisto and danced the night away. So don't forget all the food and drinks we've tried together: spiny lobster, bonito tuna, barracuda. How could we forget the mojitos, the various rums, the chacarcara cocktail, along with excellent Cuban coffee? You have to try the local cuisine to get to know the country a bit, right? Thank you so much for letting me share a part of this beautiful planet with you. Come back soon. So that's kind of the highlight and the rundown of the itinerary day by day. A lot of emphasis on relaxing, of snorkeling, of being in the water, of lazing on beautiful deserted sandy beaches. And after the trip, you're going to be heading back up to Havana to the joining hotel, and from there it's up to our travelers what they want to do with the rest of their time. Either fly straight back to Canada or spend more time in the region exploring all that Cuba has to offer. So I'm right at the 15-minute mark. So thank you very much for taking some time to learn a little bit more about G Adventures Cuba Sailing. If you have any questions, please do reach out. You can reach me at garmstrong@gadventures.com. if you have any questions, and my social media contacts are all over the place as well. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation.